Our guest this morning, because Ade and I did mention that we have a guest coming on the show. Our guest this morning is Esene Edward, who is a startup coach. He's also a management consultant and all-round business ideation specialist. So he's joining us this morning to have this conversation about patronizing SMEs, how viable it is. Thanks for joining me on Tea or Coffee today.
Thank you, Yemisi. Glad to be here.
All right, let's break it down for the sake of the conversation.
Okay.
What is the difference between an SME and a large business?
Okay, so an SME is typically a small business. A large business is something really big. And by the books, we've had different definitions and classification by SMIDAN, the Nigeria Association of Small Development of Nigeria. So the difference is around turnover, assets, and staff strength. Businesses that have less than, they are doing in terms of turnover, less than 100 million per annum, have less than 100 staff on the payroll, and have total assets of not more than 100 million, excluding land and building, is said to be a small business. Okay. So what that means is that if I'm doing anywhere from 1 million naira to 99 million turnover, not profit, okay, I'm classified in contest as a small business. Within the small, there are smaller, micro, and nano, yeah. But anybody doing above 100 million, 200 million, 500 million, it now becomes medium, it now becomes large, it now becomes very large.
Okay. So I need to clear something. What's the difference between the turnover and the profit?
So typically your turnover is your sales receipt, almost like every money that came into the business, but that's not, it's just sales. Oh, okay. I sold an item, I delivered a service.
Just before you pull out the profit,
just
the
before,
total amount that comes in?
Yes, anything, your top line revenue, everything that comes in, sales receipt. You know, so pulling out the profit is a lot of calculation. So there is the mathematical calculation to it, which gives us between net and gross. Mm-hmm. Then there's the accounting calculation to it. Right. You know, so because them just stop at that. So there's a mathematical calculation to calculating profit. There's an accounting part to calculating profit.
There's a pressure, oftentimes, on small businesses to scale up.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think the pressure is good.
Okay.
And it can be bad. It's good because if you look at the way businesses start in Nigeria, mostly from maybe personal also or family enterprises. Now, growth is a good ambition. It's good to start small, but no business wants to remain small. So we have a lot of businesses, both local and foreign, that has gone through the curve. They started as a small business, a one-man type business, and they've transitioned, they've scaled. So that's a good thing. On the other hand, that growth part, that scaling, comes with a whole lot of bottleneck, comes with a whole lot of complexity, a lot of control issue, a lot of internal, yeah, so it's a lot. So some people, especially in the developed climate, they just want to stick to their brick and mortar store. I don't want to grow. I don't want to be big. I'm okay. I'm providing service, a product. I'm making money. I can feed myself and my family, and the handful of few other persons. Don't tell me about 1 billion naira, $1 billion in turnover. I'm fine.
Okay. So generally, how would you rate the acceptance and patronage of small and medium enterprises in Nigeria?
Small business, SMEs in Nigeria are huge. They're actually doing very well, contributes quite a significant amount to GDP, creates a whole lot of jobs. So apart from the contribution, which I think is about 50% to GDP, we also have about 80% of the jobs we have in this country are provided by small businesses. So it means that the large corporates are only bringing 20% to the table. Yeah, in terms of jobs, in terms of employment, we have, say, maybe about 20 to, so the data vary from sources, between 21 million to 40 million small businesses. That's a lot. That's like the population of some country, right? So these businesses are creating 1 or 2 jobs. So up to 80% of the job. So we can't really rule out the role that small businesses and MSME play in any economy.
So we're still talking about acceptance and
Yeah.
patronage. Despite the proliferation of SMEs in the country,
Yeah.
you realize that a lot of people would rather just walk into a shopping mall, a
Yeah.
supermarket, I don't know, a bigger enterprise just
yeah.
to, I don't know, is it because we want to feel among, or what is it? Is it high taste? What is it exactly?
So it's a bit of this and that. For some people in the past, it's been something around culture. We wanted affluence, we wanted quality, something very grand. But the SMEs were not bringing that to the table. The finishing was not good, the quality was nothing to write home about. And you can see that maybe in our lifestyle way back, music, sports. But we are coming of age. I think we have come of age. Businesses in Nigeria are turning the corner. You go to some shops, factories, you're like, wow, is this a Nigerian-run business? Wow, is this made in Nigeria? So I think up until 3, 4, 5 years backward, up until now, we are turning the corner. But again, before then, patronage has been very, very low. People have opted for foreign brands. They've opted for more quality from bigger brands. But you see, the bigger brands cannot provide. So let's take food or shoe, for instance. Say you're making a high-end shoe, or you're preparing a meal as a fast restaurant or any hotel. You can't cater for the old Nigerians or the old Lagosian, right? So somewhere along the line, there will still be a need, there will be gap for the SMEs to fill in.
Let's talk about brand positioning for SMEs, because you did mention something interesting, that over time, SMEs have started working on their brands.
Absolutely.
In such a way that they have improved on customer service, on quality and all of that. Now, let's talk, because you see, with brand positioning or brand repositioning comes extra growth.
Yes, sir.
Now, there will be some SMEs that will tell you, I'm not interested in all the 3 billion or 300 billion.
I'm just fine where I am.
I'm just fine where I am. So how does brand positioning or repositioning come to play with SMEs?
So brand repositioning, it's important because you want to own the narrative about your business.
Yes.
You want to own the perception you are putting out there. Again, these are very subtle, salient matter, or the intangible, like we call them. Not so many businesses, especially small ones, are particular about all their brand touch points, all their brand narrative, their brand communication, their promise of value. They just want to deliver service and make money. But as the business begins to grow, you begin to realize that some of these salient things, like I'm not saying it's just only color or logo or your brand touch points, your web presence, social media, physical office, the look and feel. Everything adds up to the perception of your brand, including your packaging. Including your packaging. You go to a shop, a mall, you look at, it's almost like the most attractive, the well-designed ones, they're just in your face. But the poorly made ones, that the colors are not matching, the packagings are not proper, you typically don't want to go towards the size. It's one thing for you to start without paying attention to that. But if you really, really want to grow, if you really, really want to scale, then it becomes a big source of concern and it requires some measure of investment.
We asked people what they thought about patronizing SMEs versus patronizing large businesses, and they had a lot of things to say. Now, Ayomide from Abuja says, for me, it goes two ways. Credibility and delivery goes a long way, in my opinion. SMEs are ideal for me because of the fact that they are trying to grow a reputation and are they're easier rather to hold accountable than large brands that most times slack on their standards and always rely on past reputation. What do you think about this opinion?
So it's both ways, like Ayomide said. So do you want to get a fashion designer off the internet to something for you from abroad, or you want to walk into a shop and hold somebody accountable? Do you understand? So if the measurements are not properly seated, if one hand is longer than the other hand, I know your shop. I gave it to you. So I can almost do recovery or reconciliation if that is necessary, or yes, I can recover back that service, with a complaint, right, than sitting over the internet. So yes, there's a case for that. The other one is that supporting that SME just to make that sale keeps them alive, keeps them in business. So, Yemisi, let me tell you something. I used to have an idea called Project 1 for 1. The unemployment rate in Nigeria is about 24 million people. That's the number I picked. There's several data out there, 24 million. The amount of small businesses in Nigeria are about 30 million. That's also the number I picked. Some people say 41, some other people say 21. Unemployment is 24. Number of small businesses is 30 million. That's the number I picked. So I pick unemployment 24, I pick small business 30. And I'm thinking in my head, just doing maths. If every small business employ one person, it's almost like, wow, we will zero out unemployment in this country. If we help enough, support enough, one small business owner out there to create not too many things, just you employ one person, let the next person employ one person, one person, one person. The 30 million MSMEs will swallow up the 24 million unemployment. Again, that sounds nice to say, it's just playing in my head mathematically, but again, in terms of making it happen, that's another conversation.
Maybe bigger, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll take one more. Daya from Lagos says, I'll patronize SMEs as patronage means more to them, and they often value customers more than large businesses.
Yeah.
For instance, despite that at some point I worked as a sales and account specialist in some big shopping malls, I used to patronize a store in my neighborhood because buying things from them over the years had made the staff and owners view me as a loyal customer and all. The owner would sometimes compliment my hair, genuinely ask about my well-being, assist with my shopping by selecting the best products from the shelf. He would even go as far as immediately resolving any issue that I encounter in the store. All these don't usually happen in big stores, and they obviously get too much customers daily to be able to know long-term customers personally.
Absolutely.
I believe that to them, you're just a part of their daily statistics. To the SMEs, however, you are their hero, as you literally keep them in business. In all, SMEs have better customer service, including personalized service. These small businesses know you so well that they tailor their services specifically for you to make your experience even better.
Absolutely. That cannot be better said. Absolutely spot on. So the service is personalized, there is touch and feel, then there's a sense of camaraderie. I see that my patronage is helping them put the lights on. I see that my patronage is helping them create additional job.
Yes.
So I'm happy. And they're also happy. So it's good for everybody.
So as we wrap this conversation up, who are the stakeholders that we need to, or who are the stakeholders that should help SMEs grow in such a way that at least to a large extent they have more patronage as against large businesses?
So typically, when this kind of questions are asked, people will say, and I will also say, the government. Okay. But now, I want to flip it and say the number one stakeholder to grow the business is the SME themselves, the owner manager, the founder, president, MD, CEO, whatever title you picked. Yeah? Okay. If you focus on you, if you grow, your business will grow. Okay. If you expose yourself, your business will be exposed. Do you understand? It's one thing for us to say it's the economy. Yeah, rightly so. It's the government. Oh, rightly so. It's this political party or another political party. It's this policy. All of that has, in terms of the macroeconomic context, all of that has huge factor to play. But I've seen businesses, regardless of economy, regardless of who's in power, regardless of how favorable or unfavorable these policies were, they thrived. They succeeded. You know? So again, stakeholder number one, government, the right policy, the environment, power, security, road, everything we need to do the business. But for me, again, ultimately, stakeholder number one of one before the government. I'll give it to the owner manager of the business.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me this morning on Tea and Coffee.